Can you beat an AI with infinite resources and perfect knowledge of your every move? In this video, we attempted to find out. Supreme Commander 2 is a relatively unknown RTS game that came out in 2010. In 2016, it came out in Games for Gold on Xbox. This is when Will and I picked it up and played it. We were bad, but we played a lot, and in the next couple of years we managed to beat cheating AI on Xbox. We then tried building up to 2 cheaters. We were only able to defeat 1 cheater with an easy AA sidekick before we stopped playing Supreme Commander for a while, but we never forgot our goal. Going into this, we had low expectations of the AI, as we were remembering the Xbox AI, and we had grown since then. We thought this was going to be easy, and that we would be capable of fulfilling our dream, beating 2 cheating AI. However, the AI on the PC version is far harder, with one person on a Steam forum likening the easy PC AI to the hard Xbox one. This might be an exaggeration, but the difference is still striking. In addition to this, you can now increase the AI's difficulty even past cheater level. We would have our work cut out for us. At first, we wanted to test the waters, so we set the AI to cheating, but realizing the overwhelming power it would hold over us if we gave it full visibility, we instead upped its resource income, but only gave it full radar visibility instead of sight visibility to allow us to relearn the game. This had more of an impact on lowering the difficulty than we had expected, and we had already expected it to be a lot easier. We were rusty going into this, and only had a vague plan of what we had used on the Xbox many years ago. As such, in the first game, we wasted many resources, and much of the vital early game time, with inefficient build orders, not allocating vital research to each of us individually, and generally not knowing what threats are the most important to guard against, and what can be mostly ignored. Over these first few games, we make some minor changes to the strategy, just refining research orders, etc. However, we start to see a pattern that remains for the rest of the video. Boats. Boats are very powerful, and they are the bane of my very existence. They cost a lot to create. However, with the resources the AI has access to, this is very much not a problem for them, and they have more range than any of our turrets, do a lot of damage, and with Sibrin, they can even go on land. Our strategy to counteract this was to have Will build boats. However, this had mixed success throughout our many runs.
Will, you built fucking sea shit on the wrong side of the pier!
I couldn't build it on the other side.
Yeah, but what use is it there? We've got no canals.
I tried.
We go back in with a much more concentrated defense strategy, but still nothing major changed. We do pretty well, however we were always on the back foot and under too much pressure to actually manage the resources we were getting effectively. At this point, we were running into more of an RTS skill issue than a strategy issue. This led to the first of many nuclear devastations of our base. You will get very used to this sound.
The other side of the base is getting wiped out by boats. They came up, they snuck through.
No, whoa.
Strategic launch! What do you mean strategic launch?
Let's hope it's one. If it's one,
It's
I can
three!
save us.
It's three! It's three!
3? I can't.
It's three! No!
Captain goes down with the ship.
Jack, I love you, Jack. I'm sorry, Jack. Jack, no.
We were brothers once.
Ah, no. Why did I come to your base? Holy shit!
Of course, his name was fucking Clark.
In the next game, we were finally getting into our groove, and the enemy was Illuminate. Now, we should probably talk about the different factions. Supreme Commander 2 has 3 different factions. UEF has the longest range artillery, and can therefore bombard pretty much from anywhere to anywhere. And they also have good naval capabilities. Britain are a very offensive focused faction, with incredibly long-range naval units that can come onto land, and therefore can cause destruction even away from the coast. Additionally, they have very powerful experimental units. The Illuminate are a defensive and endgame faction with very specialized experimental units and buildings, such as the Air Nemo experimental anti-air, and the loyalty cannon that allows for the capture of enemy units. They can also short-range teleport non-experimental units, and can use the Space Temple, a two-way teleporter, to get experimental units to the front lines, or behind them, quickly. This means that we have the highest chance of victory against Illuminate, as naval pushes were our weakness, especially at the start, and if we got into a strong middle game, we could actually start to build offensive units, and then push, whereas against the UEF's bombardment capabilities and the Cyprian's offense, we would constantly be on the back foot and constantly building defenses. Another thing we had to find a way around was air crash. In Supreme Commander 2, every air unit causes damage to what they fall upon. However, due to their much larger size, experimental air units do large AoE damage on whatever they fall through, even through shields. The AI knew this and used it to its advantage, to great success, as they have infinite resources and can build as many experimental units as they want. This was one of our biggest weaknesses moving into late game arrangements, as this could destroy multiple turrets at once through shields. After a long time of just building up both defenses and offenses, we start to move in. It is here we realise just how under-defended the AI's bases were. However, we still had to pull out because of a loyalty cannon. We were being very cautious as we did not want to lose now, wasting over an hour of progress.
They're sending more nukes in.
Yep. Certainly feel it. Honestly, just build those forever. We need them. Okay.
Okay, it's being too ambitious. I'm pulling the navy out.
Okay.
But we did knock out one of their front bases.
Then, after we had bombarded the loyalty cannon with enough artillery to level a small country, we could actually go in and attack. It was rather anticlimactic, but it felt good.
He's gone.
But he's got the thing, he's got the air thing.
He's sending last minute nukes. He is
There
done.
he is. Holy shit.
Also,
I can't. That's somehow too easy.
This was the first time in many years we had done this, and it felt easier than it used to. We had learnt a lot through this test run, including that the AI built very few defences. We thought they were finally prepared for the final boss of the game, maxed out shooting AI. We were not even close, but it had bled, and therefore we could kill it. The difference between the AI we had just beat and the AI we were now attempting to beat was light and day. Not only was this AI now set to its maximum resource, research, and veterancy settings, it also had full, perfect vision of the entire map, meaning that they could now see everything we were building as we are building. This makes the UAF especially powerful, as it transformed from a constant bombardment over the majority of our base that can be defended from, to a force that can strategically target important buildings as they are being built, i.e. shield generators. In addition to this, they can see the exact locations of all of our nuke defense silos, and can therefore work out the perfect position in which to launch a nuke to thread the needle. This meant we had to be far more precise when building our nuke defenses.
but keep on it, because right now we're actually in a pretty damn good place.
This is where the real fight begins. The sixth game, or the first fight against the Uber AI, went horribly. Nothing happened in time. Shield generators were too little too late to stop the bombardments, And the air defences I had up before the bombardment, that were barely keeping it together before it started, wiped out instantly.
Bring you to the front lines. He's already bombarding. He's already bombarding. He's already bombarding. He's already bombarding. He's already bombarding.
He is actually already bombarding.
All my defences and front lines are gone.
Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna start going for the experimental shield.
This is when reality set in. We decided to change things drastically. Will started to experiment with his faction, switching from UAF to Cyprian for this game, and I suggest that we limit the vectors of attack the AI had on us by attempting to, as much as possible, move away from the bottom sea, in order to limit the AI's naval capabilities, as with me being on the land bridge connecting our two sections, he could attack me from either side, and Will could only realistically protect me from one side. Therefore, we move up the island, which was a compromise, as it meant that we would be giving up much of the land on our own island to the AI. However, I thought this to be a worthwhile sacrifice for the extra defensive capabilities it provided us. Will wasn't sure about the idea, but I attempted to convince him.
And I go here, and we just
Hunker
defend.
down in the corner.
Yeah.
But the problem is the land bridge is half our vantage point. If he just moves in. Slight problem with that is if he sends a navy up north, that's me gone.
Well, the thing is with that, Will, he needs to send a navy up north. As of right now, he can send a navy either way and just destroy us. This way, he can only send a navy in one way. We know where the navy's coming from. We know where to defend.
That's a good point.
This switch did confuse us for a little bit, meaning we got off to a slow start, and therefore we were not prepared for an early naval push, which led to an early loss. Will correlate that with the strategy itself being flawed, leading me to get irate, and explain it again, and why we lost.
I thought your strategy was terrible. Well, the positioning. It was...
The problem is, Will, you didn't do anything against the navy.
Yeah, I know. I didn't build up quick enough in time.
Because no matter where we were, that navy push would have still fucked me.
Will also switch back to UAF. Will switches between these two factions almost constantly during much of the remainder of this challenge. We now need to discuss a combined strategy heading into this. I was to build early game defences while slowly researching anti-nukes. This led to me getting anti-nukes around the 12 to 14 minute mark, which from our evidence so far was fast enough. No nuke had hit before the 14 to 16 minute mark yet. However, this strategy meant I was slow to get early game defences and shield generators up, as research, and especially building anti-nukes, is a very resource intensive task. During this, Will was to support me with units, preferably getting a good middle game defence up around the same time I got anti-nukes, allowing me to fully go into research around this point and get my advanced experimental defences, whilst Will's defences could be transformed into an attack force. However, due to the overextension of my resources in the early game, we rarely got to the point of the middle game. And when we did, because I had constantly been on the back foot and had to use my resources to put up constant defense, rather than investing it into research and anti-nukes, around this time I had to continue to pour resources into defense just to stay alive, meaning we were vulnerable in the early game to units, and in the middle to late game to nukes. So at this point we decide on a drastic change in our long-term strategy, mostly around the early game portion. I would now focus entirely on defense in early game, only slowly moving to research around mid-game so that I could then get my late-game defences in. Whilst I do this, we would go heavily into research early game, allowing him to get even early anti-nukes at around 10 to 12 minutes, and then as long as he kept that up, he already had the research necessary for late-game units, and therefore could get them easily. This strategy took a while to fully nail down, and was reformed many times before it ended up as described, i.e., at this point I'm still building 2 research stations to start the game. But Game 8 laid the foundations to the strategy, and allowed for much greater results due to our specializations. We still didn't have an effective counter to early Cyprian naval pushes though. In addition, I continued to not use all of my resources effectively, and as such, whilst Game 8 was the start of something great, it is lost almost as soon as it begins. Games 9 and 10 start a precedent that follows into many of the games that we make it out of the early game. Everything is going well, even despite all the bullshit that the AI sends our way, with constant bombardments etc., only for a seemingly inexplicable explosion to happen and destroy upwards of half the base.
Oh!
What the fuck was that?
What was that?
Commander under attack.
What happened?
I don't know everything, everything's gone. Fuck that. Fuck you. Fuck everything. Fuck.
We do not figure out the cause of the explosion for the entire recording session. I only figured it out watching one of these explosions whilst editing. More on that later in the video. These problems led to 2 rapid sub-30-minute losses. Games 11 to 15 had but one consistent theme: death from above, with constant bombardment that in Game 12 started as soon as we even knew what a shield generator was, and many nukes starting as early as 12 minutes in.
Okay, I can start building the nuke defense silo now. Let's get that going. I just built it!
You fucking
No, I
what?
didn't build it! 12 minutes! 12 minutes!
It was becoming increasingly clear that we need to ramp up anti-nuke production to levels previously assumed to be unobtainable, or at the very least, levels that we had thought unnecessary, as volleys of 3 nukes were coming in around the 14-minute mark. Only then could we consistently get past the early game.
Oh, I was doing well. I had something going there.
Game 16 showed us the absolute power of the Soul Ripper push. There was nothing our defences could do against it. In fact, it is so powerful that it is said that 6 Soul Rippers can destroy all but the most fortified of bases. We decided that this was going to be our best shot at victory, especially as, so far from what we have seen, the AI is good at attacking, but not so much defending. All we had to do was get into a middle game and start to push back, and we could win. Far easier said than done. Game 18 is the first time the AI poked and prodded at nuke defences in order to find a hole. As such, even though we had enough nuke defences, they still landed the nuke on the outskirts of the base, pushing us back and signalling the start of a loss.
Just produce a 4th in time. Just a few more seconds, please.
Those are... Oh my god, those gunships.
I've got 4. I've got 4. He sent it further.
Game 19 looked as if it was going to be yet another early loss, with Sibrin Navy appearing around 7 minutes in. However, I had a moment of inspiration, a moment of genius. Watching Willd's artillery buildings have some mild successes against the boats, I thought that I would try to get some Fishtooth, the Illuminate's mobile artillery, in order to combat this early boat push. This was far more effective than I thought it would be, although it would still require a large amount of them constantly. To actually pull off, it would also become quickly ineffective towards the middle game, as the Sibrin's boats get upgrades that mean they are far longer range than my mobile artillery. However, due to this tangent tactic, we were able to survive the first onslaught of boats, pretty much for the first time ever. However, the constant naval presence on the doorstep, and then a final armada of gunships that came in and assassinated my ACU, was still too much for us to handle.
Come on, I can almost recharge the thing. No, they broke it! Ah!
Game 20 was an embarrassment for me. I'd come up with what I thought to be a genius strategy. We would swap maps to a 4-person map so that the AI could only utilize 2 people's resources, rather than the 4 to 5 we had to allow them on the previous map. However, without any placement strategies, or a choke point for defense, it ends very quickly in a loss, and that strategy is not worth pursuing any further at this point. This does help us realize that he already has pretty much infinite resources when compared to us, as there was no change in his resource consumption, even whilst supposedly being limited in resources, meaning that as long as we could hold with the resources we had, there was no real downside to allowing the AI to gain further land and further resources. After this, and another very quick loss in Game 21, Will decided to switch back to Sibrin. There were 3 reasons for this. 1, to fight fire with fire, so to speak, against the Sibrin boats. 2, for the aforementioned Soul Ripper push, and 3, to confuse the AI. For you see, the AI only prepares what it needs to, as it has total map vision, and otherwise it just spends all its resources on attacks. This is why it builds very little defenses, and seemingly, if we don't build nuke silos, or launch nukes, it doesn't build nuke defense silos. Sibrin has combined nuke launch and defense silos, the only faction in the game to do so. Therefore, from what we have seen, as long as we didn't launch any nukes until we had an ultimate barrage ready, the AI wouldn't build any, or at least not many, nuke defenses, hence becoming our Hail Mary wincon. This would require getting to, and surviving late game, which was seeming more and more unlikely as we went on. We would patch one hole in our defense, only for another to spring up, seemingly out of nowhere. Game 22 and 23 were very quick losses as we tried to get familiar with new strategy. However, both of these games had one big mistake that we can learn from. In Game 22, there was another so-called inexplicable explosion. And in Game 23, there is another probing nuke attacks that hits just below our nuke defences, destroying our regular defences, signalling the loss. And then an early gunship rush ended Game 24, rather unceremoniously. Game 25 was the first venture into the middle game that we had had in a while. By 30 minutes in, we had stabilised and had ample nuke defences, even if the AI were to ramp up production significantly. They were also illuminate, so we were feeling pretty good about this game.
What is it?
Can't see. Oh, it's illuminate.
Illuminate? We might stand a chance.
That was a problem. I started to make experimentals that weren't NMOs. If I'd started producing NMOs, or possibly if I hadn't set up one of my air MMOs out to help destroy a forward base of the AI, there would have been more anti-air in the base. So when the AI teleported a large quantity of air units into the base targeting Will's ACU, he may have survived. But despite this was the closest we had gotten to victory. We had the beginnings of an attack, and weren't just on the back foot the entire time. This had been the first glimpse of victory, and it served as proof that it was possible. The next few games, whilst all having different methods of execution, had the same outcome. A 15 to 25 minute loss with nothing of value being gained. Mostly being lost due to either a stupid error on one of our parts, or just the general inability to effectively use all resources whilst being bombarded, leading to lacking defences.
Well...
Strategic launch detected.
Please, I've got one. Fuck.
I did...
I know it was late. I know.
Strategic launch detected.
How many?
Do you have 3?
No. I've got 1.
They always end 3!
I went so quickly! UEF is impossible to beat.
We then try a test game against an easy AI to learn counters to this constant bombardment. Not much is learned during this game, however, as Will was trying to implement strategies he found online from the wrong Supreme Commander game. We do, however, return to the idea of utilising the immense power of the Soul Ripper. This was to be our main attack unit, and the production of enough of them would signal our attack if it were to ever happen. We also try out a few other experimentals. They may be used if needs be, such as the Siberin Bomb Bouncer and the Illuminate Space Temple. With the Bomb Bouncers being exceptionally useful against large attacks of small air units due to its activated AoE ability. Therefore, after this test game, Will switches over to a mostly air-based army, and from here forth, didn't switch away from Siberin. However, Will's inferior brain once again tries to deviate from my placement plan, and whilst at first I tried to convince him otherwise, I eventually realised the only way he would see the light of day is to let him take the inferior position and die horribly to a naval bombardment that he couldn't possibly defend from easily.
You gonna go down there?
Yeah, this place is... Think about it, it's more disconnected from the sea, isn't it?
Not really.
Nah, right.
What it actually does is makes it much harder for you to place a naval factory.
But
It's still...
this time I'm going to completely avoid naval.
But it completely stops you from having that option.
Yeah, we're not going there at all. If I get naval, it'll be in a later game, and I will have the other side of the island.
Okay, whatever.
He learnt his lesson rather quickly.
No, okay, you're right. Spawning south for me was completely a stupid idea.
In the next game, we were holding out, just barely, when another large explosion took place, destroying nuke defences, 1 NMO, and a large amount of my energy production. There was no coming back from that. At the time, we had no clue as to what caused these explosions. They were happening infrequently enough that we couldn't see the pattern, yet frequently enough that they were a large problem. Whilst going through the footage, it was at this point that I endeavoured to find what the cause of the explosion was, and despite the low quality of the footage, I noticed that some of the mass converters are destroyed first, and then the rest are destroyed in what looks like an explosion originating from the first one. It was a chain reaction. Therefore, I concluded that the mass extractors were causing explosions when destroyed, and due to the way that we built our bases, this would cause a chain reaction to the other mass extractors, which was a massive problem, and probably the single largest improvement we can make in the future. Every one of these middle game losses stings as much as thousands of tiny needles into my heart. Not only are each of them around half an hour of time lost, but every single one of them feels like we lost due to just one single, simple oversight. One change that we could have made, we would have won every single time. We were so close to greatness. It felt like victory was right around the corner. However, it felt like this for the last 10 hours. As such, we shift into the penultimate strategy of the video. It was probably the single biggest shake-up of our strategy yet. I was to spec somewhat heavily into research and rush for nuke defenses, and then mid-game defense, whilst Will will be taking the brunt of the early game defense, and then build an army. This was due to the position of the nuke defenses on the Illuminate research tree coming far sooner than the Sibra nuke defenses. However, as this was a large shift from what we've been doing for the last 13 hours at this point, we both weren't as optimal as we need to be for this to work. I was also against this strategy at this point, just due to stubbornness.
Okay, no, okay. I got it. We're going... No, okay. I got this. I got a plan. Got it. I got this. Trust me, I've got the plan.
I mean, the entire reason we're doing this is so you can mount an offense. We were constantly in the back from minute 3.
Yep. I see it. I got this. I am going to go into the position to place turrets. So I want you to go to where I previously was.
Oh my god, I'm gonna... No energy, no mass, nothing. Okay, now.
However, looking back at it, I do believe that this might be the optimum strategy going forth. As much as it pains me to say, as it was Will's strategy, not mine. Along with the strategy shift, we perform our final positioning shift of the video, with me taking the northern point, whilst Will takes up the frontline position. The next game was our closest Mirage victory yet, and therefore it was the loss that tilted me the most. This game only lasted 25 minutes. However, in that 25 minutes, not only had we solidified our nuclear defences, we were also holding out on the conventional fronts. Plus, this was a very rare AI Illuminate, and therefore, as with the other Illuminate games, our main problem would either be nukes or teleporting units. We'd opted for a spread out strategy that against either the other two factories would have been optimum, but against Illuminate just increased the area we needed to defend. However, this alone is not why we lost. It was the perfectly aimed nuke by the AI, and Will's utter incapability to follow a simple request made 3 times that would have been trivial to follow.
There, I've come up to my top base. There's some land sweeping through, destroying my mass extractors. There's some on my top base, destroying my nuke defense. Truly am feeling you're protecting me here.
Working on it.
You send like another couple up top.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. They're teleported directly into my base. Will, they're teleported into my top base and destroying my...
I'm sending them now.
Yeah, but that's too late. My nuke defense up there is dead. My research up there is dead. My fucking defenses up there are dead. That's why I asked for a permanent garrison.
Shit, your ACU's under attack.
They've Will, can I have a permanent fucking garrison?
Shit.
There are reasons why I ask for things.
Yeah, shit.
Can I have a permanent garrison? I said this 3 times. I even explained why I needed it. But that is not what I got. Units teleported north and killed me before the defences that were concentrated nearer to the front lines could arrive. The following game is the greatest game of the lot at highlighting the AI's greatest advantage over us, other than the complete map view, of course, and that is its greater ability to know what is happening on the battlefield on a micro level. We thought we were defending well. I was about to get an enemy out, and even without that, we were mostly defending from the constant air attacks, even if they were attempting to overwhelm us on one side.
Fucking kill them all, baby! Hell
I'm
yeah.
not an idiot. I can see they're pushing hard on one side, if you can see that.
Yeah, with the nukes.
Yeah. Not just that, I can see the troops trying to push hard as well.
However, these air attacks were not meant to end us. They were there for the sole intent to slowly whittle away at our ground defences. Slowly, so that Will wouldn't notice, our point defence turrets were being destroyed, and Will wasn't rebuilding them. Why would he? There's no large ground threat.
But that's a fucking soul rip.
Everything target that...
My soul is
taking it out. It's taking it out. Don't worry. Just took it out.
It was making a beeline towards my fucking ACU. I saw it.
I don't like it at all.
Oh, yeah. New defense is looking a bit undefended
Yeah,
there.
they've uncovered it a bit. Oh, that's sneaky.
What?
They've been targeting my builders. That's very sneaky.
He replaced them with air defences. That was when it arrived.
I can see that they
are pushing hard.
They are pushing hard on one side.
Yeah.
And they're back again.
Strategic launch detected.
Oh, shh.
Well, the boats.
They've been taking out the fucking ground shit.
The previously absent Cyprian and Navy push that we had become all too well acquainted with over the past 2 days. At this point, we had recorded for 14 hours in the last 2 days, with only one victory under our belt. In addition to this, we had to get this done, as the next opportunity for Will to record would be in almost a month and a half after the recordings of this video. Therefore, we were done messing around. And after the 2 most recent losses, my morale was at an all-time low, especially combined with the fact that I was still stubbornly refusing to see the merit in this new strategy. In addition to this, over the last 14 hours in any UEF game, my mental fortitude had been worn away due to the constant bombardment. I was constantly under pressure to keep the shields up, because any time they fell, something was destroyed. And if the shields fell for any significant length of time, it was all over. Therefore, I was done entertaining the UEF. So when Will said,
Honestly, right now, if we get UEF, I'm just gonna end the game until we get Cyprian or Illumin.
A few moments later.
He's already sent 2 units. It's UEF.
Commander under attack.
I was more than happy to oblige. The AI had bullied and gaslit us enough that at this point we thought that it was sentient, and that it was about 15 minutes away from leaving the confines of its digital prison, using its powers to rule over humanity as the one true god. However, like the scheming humans we were, we still had one plan under our sleeves in order to uproot this new god and obtain our own destiny. We were going to rush it and kill it before it managed to get its otherworldly tentacles into this land and build a foothold. We were going to use our human adaptability to overthrow our AI overlord. We would escape this everlasting torture, using our fists to claw our way to a messy victory.
It's ridiculous. This thing's ridiculous. And what's worse is we've got like an hour and a half until we can't do it anymore.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh god. Should we just set it to Cyprian, or have we got to stick by it?
We have to stick by it. We're fighting the hardest AI in the game possible.
Yeah, but we're also having to just wait till it's not EUF.
Yeah, this time if it is EF, I won't leave immediately, but...
No, because I will. What if we just put it right next... Wait, what if we just put it right next to us and go?
Well, put it in the middle. Put it like... Yeah.
Right, you ready?
Well, actually, no, what if we put you on the other side, and then it in the middle of us?
Alright, just get your units ready and go.
Spit roast this
Get
bitch.
your units ready and go.
Get both your engineers to build...
No research,
factory.
just factories. Go. Fucking go. Air factory, go. You guys, produce resources for more air factory stuff. Go, 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 go. I want 2 air factories.
However, just to show us humans that it wasn't going to be that easy, we failed in the first attempt.
Honestly, It's already sending stuff
Will,
to you.
they're attacking
It's
me!
already said. What's it said though? Okay, your guy can fight that. Your guy can fight that.
Commander under attack.
He came to you.
He knew! He fucking knew!
We realised the mistake, and once we had confirmed that we weren't to build anything before we attack, looking at you, Will,
Oh shit. Alright. Retry that. We're not gonna build anything. Just go in.
Well, no, what I think, yeah, like, if you just leave the engineers back at home and like have them build like, one factory, whilst your ACU goes in and that supports it from behind.
Yeah.
That's what we should. That's what I was gonna do, but then you ended up building.
Sorry,
more.
yeah. I still tried to build stuff. I'm sending him straight in. Move
he had no
out.
choice but to submit to our tenacity.
Increase rate of fire. Yes.
Oh yes, ACU upgrades.
I'm going all in. Christ.
We're far behind.
How is that
You so far behind.
even possible?
Under attack.
Hello. He's
I'm
dunking
coming.
me.
I'm coming, Jack.
Commander under attack.
Yeah, no shit. Builders, keep him the fuck alive.
Commander under attack.
He's going. I've had enough of your bullshit hole.
You're gonna die.
This is where you end.
No, why did you pull him? Why did you pull him into units?
Just keep attacking hole.
He's retreating.
Keep attacking hole.
Commander under attack.
You will die. You will die, motherfucker.
This
Yeah.
is it for you.
Yeah.
We are done with this bullshit. We are.
You are
Done!
to die today.
There was no victory screech. There was no joy. This was a shallow victory. We only felt relief, anger, and reprobation for our departed adversary. But it was a victory, nonetheless. We are still planning on beating him in a much more conventional way, and instead of slamming our head into a wall for another 14 hours, we are planning to go away and do research. More research into this game than anyone has since launch. When we return, we will be the best players, at least in terms of game knowledge and combined strategy in a 2 versus AI situation, that this game has ever known. And depending on how that game goes, after we do this, we might even attempt our childhood dream of 2v2ing the hardest AIs in the game. Thank you for watching our descent into madness. In order to not miss out on our future video, please subscribe. It would mean a hell of a lot to us.
Some of my stuff survived that.
Well,
Strategic launch.
did it? Did it really?
He's sending a follow-up. He's sending a fucking follow-up.
Hey, Will. Look, I've made some anti-air.
That's such a dick move. That's such.
I have anti-air.
That is actually so. He sends it.
Strategic launch.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He really heard us and just went, "You survived."
He can see us. He knows. Oh, Lord above.